the way of your lead generation. So I'm assuming you guys are doing the daily 10-4 every day. Does everyone know what the daily 10-4 is? Okay, so who can tell me what the 4 items are?
10 new contacts.
10 new contacts.
10 connections. 10 connections. 10.
Close, but no.
Conversations.
Close.
Previewing 10
Properties per week.
per week. Yeah.
That's the only one that's not daily. So
Oh,
previewing 10.
Okay.
No, but that's part of the daily 10-4. It's included. It's one of the 4 items. So you're going to preview 10 homes per week. Yes. You're going to make 10 contacts that are voice-to-voice or in-person contacts where you talk about real estate. And you're going to add those to your database, right? So that's a step. What else?
10 notes.
10 handwritten notes. All right. So how do you feel you're doing?
I thought it was 4 handwritten notes. That's where the 4 comes from.
No, there's 4 items.
Oh.
And the 4th
okay.
item is a weekly. It's previewing 10 homes per week,
Okay.
which I tell people, go on Caravan. If you don't get your 10, you're close. Some caravans are low. You might only get 4 or 5. But then go back into the MLS and either go preview property for your clients, for who you're looking for property, or just pick properties you want to see or a neighborhood you haven't been in or a condo, and call the agent. May I go and preview the property? Is it vacant? Is it on lockbox? You want to make it easy. I try not to schedule things for agents that they have to go and meet me at the property. I try to find things vacant and on lockbox, and then you just take your list and you just go preview. You could do 1 or 2 a day. 2 a day and you're done for the week. But if you go on Caravan, just 1 day a week, boom, you get your 10. Yeah, so make it easy, make it fun. I still preview 10 homes a week. I've been selling real estate here for 30 years. I have not been in every property there is. I just showed property a couple weeks ago to some buyers that were here over the holidays, and I thought I had seen everything. No, I found out there's a complex called Maui Kai. Does anyone know what Maui Kai is?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Me either. I hadn't even heard of it. Well, now I have my clients online on Zillow. Oh, I want to go see this at Maui Kai, and I'm like, well, I'm thinking to myself, is that west side? Is that south side? Well, where exactly is that condo? I had to track it down. I'd never been there. Oceanfront property. Okay. Then I found out there's a Kihei Kai. Does anyone know about Kihei Kai?
Yeah.
I had never been to Kihei Kai.
Yeah.
It's a small
I sold a place there.
Small little sleeper property,
Yep.
oceanfront. There's
Yep.
2 oceanfront units, but the rest are, adjacent to the oceanfront.
Yep.
So I have agents who've been here 5 years who tell me, oh, I don't need to preview properties. Yeah, you do. I still go every week and I learn new complexes, new properties. I always try to stay on top of what's new under construction. Like we have one in Wailea, Makaliki, that's going in right now down by the Blue Course by Mulligan's. That's been under for a couple of years and it's finally going vertical, which is nice. But you can never have enough market knowledge. The secondary reason for that is a lot of these complexes are either undergoing major updates for the complex itself or the units themselves are being updated. So you wanna do that. Okay, so are you guys reporting out on this after you're making calls each day?
Sometimes before.
Either or. Depends on who's.
Okay, so do you want to do this now or do you want to do this after?
After.
After, okay. So daily 10-4, what are you doing each day, Bob? Let's just report out each person.
I'm calling people each day.
Okay.
I've got the majority of the people that I talk to are already in my contact
Database.
list.
Okay.
Because I got 874.
So you're missing a step because you're supposed to be adding
Right.
10 new people a day.
Right. I'm still at the point where I'm trying to contact the people I already have,
Right.
which I haven't done. That's
Right.
part of the reason I took this class is to find out what the hell I'm not doing. There's many things I'm doing, but the biggest thing I'm not doing is doing the calling. That's what I'm not doing. This is foreign territory for me. So
Well, and you need to add because you don't want to be just calling, servicing what you have. You want
Right.
to be expanding as well.
right.
So try to come up with a strategy that's going to let you add 10 people a day to your database.
Yeah.
So you're calling them, You're not
Right.
adding them because they're already there.
Right.
Are you writing 10 notes a day?
I'm writing about 3 notes a day.
Okay, well, it's a progression. You know, you start and you work up to it.
Yeah, that's
So-
3 more than I was writing. So.
Awesome. Get to 10. It'll
Yeah.
make a difference.
Yeah.
In your previewing property.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Still do that.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
I haven't since we started this course because the class is always on the day that caravan is. So I miss caravan, so I have to do it individually. But you can when this class is not in session, you can hit a lot of them on caravan. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Marcus?
I've been cold calling for Todd Hudson, and I also, as soon as I leave here, usually on Monday and Tuesday, I will drive South Kihei, and there's usually a bunch of open houses.
Yep.
So I usually get my 10 in by Tuesday. With the previewing properties, probably only sending about 3 notes a day. Those are the people usually that are very, either excited or committed to helping me generally, or people that give me a referral or something like
Right.
that. Haven't been doing all 10 notes, but a lot of the adding to the database I've been getting through referrals through friends and family and things like that.
Okay, good. So that formula is the formula that Gary Keller developed, and if you do that consistently, there's no way you cannot be successful in real estate. And the reason is you're adding 200 people a month to your database. 10 a week, 5 days a week is 50, 4 weeks of the month, 200 contacts. You're connecting with 200 people about real estate. You're sending 200 notes, and then you're previewing properties, so you're gaining that market knowledge. If you do just that one thing, if the daily 10-4 is your one thing, you will be successful. There is no way statistically you cannot be successful. So that's why I tell people, as quickly as you can, get to mass on this. Maybe start with 3 of each of those things, but ramp up every week. Go 1 more. This week I'm doing 4, next week I'm doing 5. So within 10 weeks you're at 10 or sooner, because that is what's gonna seal your success. And then Gary has a formula statistically that's later on in your training that will talk about your database when you get to a certain minimum size. Statistically, then you want to refocus. You want to keep growing, but you also want to refocus time in exactly what Bob's doing, which is the touching and calling of your people within your database, because statistically the largest amount of your business will come out of that database, either directly through those people who know you and love you, or through referrals, where they'll send you their friends and family. And I gotta tell you, it works. It works. Okay, so Malia, how about
Same. I've been calling.
you? Okay,
I like to write notes, so I've been doing 5.
10 notes?
No, 5 a day.
Okay.
And
What does your notes look like? How long are they? What do you say in them?
Well, thanks for your call, or whatever. I mean, these are my notes. And I
Awesome.
just kind of make them.
Handwritten,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, nice.
And then I put my card in it before I send it out.
Perfect, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I find handwritten notes very effective. I had an agent send me a note a month ago to my house, thanking me for some time I'd spent with them, some extra time. And I got home, pooped that day, and opened it up and was so touched because it reminded me how our clients feel. We're so much in the tech age of, I'll send an email, I'll send a text. I've gotten a little complacent in that I stopped really doing gifts and special occasions and those kind of things, which I did a lot early in my career in the early 90s. And I was just like, man, I really need to go back to those personal touches, because just the note, when I sat in my car at the mailbox, what's this? Opened it up, I was like, okay, this person thought about me, they wrote the card, they looked at my address and addressed the card, they put a postage stamp on it, and they mailed it. At any point in that process could have derailed them. How many times have we written a note and stuck it in our bag, and I gotta go buy stamps, and then 2 weeks later, it's not really timely, I never bought the stamp, oh, I should just throw the note away and rewrite a new note. Any of those things could have derailed that process, yet they mindfully and intentionally thought of me through those steps to put that into the mail to get it to me. And it really reinforced to me in teaching IGNIT and other classes with our company, how much that personal touch of a note card really makes you stand out from other agents. And if you're blessing 10 lives a day, 50 lives a week with that, and I always include 3 cards in my note cards. I always, on the closing, put, I've enclosed a few cards, 1 for you and 2 for your friends or family. Because no matter how many times we tell our friends and family, and I think our family is the worst, I'm in real estate, I can help you and your friends anywhere globally. Start putting that in your language, anywhere globally, because you can refer them and connect them. They are the last people to refer you.
Yeah.
Your family. And I mean, I don't know what that is. It's not my family, it's not your family, just when you statistically look across it, they're the last ones to refer you. So, and our friends even, people who've done business with me, interact with people who are buying and selling, and I was like, oh, your girlfriend we went out for drinks with a month ago, she's just listed her house. Did you know she was gonna, oh yeah. She told me she was interviewing realtors. Why didn't you call me? Well, you're principal broker now, I didn't think you were selling. I can refer it to one of my agents if I don't have time to service it myself. Like, don't ever take business off the plate for me. I'm like, let me say no, give me that opportunity. But our friends in their own, they just, oh, she only does condos, or he only does luxury, or Bob only does land. No. We can do and connect you with anything globally. The reason I asked you about your cards, Malia, circling back, is agents get hung up on who to write and what to write. So what I tell them is 3 sentences. Thanks for taking my call today. It was great to reconnect. I've included 3 business cards, 1 for you and 2 for friends and family. I look forward to speaking with you again in a month, or I look forward to getting together for coffee or whatever. It's 3 or 4 sentences. It's short. We're not writing a letter or a chapter or a book. It's a quick touch. That's all that those cards are meant to be. Inviting someone to an open house. Hey, if you're mailing them an invite, a handwritten invite, and it can be as simple as you make a postcard for the open house that you enclose in an envelope with a little note on it. It could even be a sticky note stuck on it. That counts as one of your cards for the day. So if you're holding open house this weekend, invite 10 neighbors. There you go. That's one day's, it's not hard, it's not complicated. The other thing is we make it complicated. You can kill 3 of these items a day with the same person. You can add a contact to your database, call the contact, and write them a thank you note. And you're only dealing with 10 people. I mean, I sat down and I watched an agent the other day struggle. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this really easy for you. We're gonna pull up a list of neighboring properties of a listing you have, a house you're gonna sit open, or a neighborhood you wanna work in. Have you all been in the property tax database? Real property tax from LA County? Okay, I wish this was working.
I'll show you. I've got it here.
Bob, if you can pull
Big
it
enough,
up.
it's a big enough screen.
Okay. Pull it up and we'll look around it. There's a function in the real property tax database that is for the county for if you're getting a permit and have to notify the neighbors. I show this to all our agents. I use this religiously.
And if you don't know the website, you can go, you can type Maui property tax and it brings it up. But
Yeah.
the website is, believe it or not, is
MauiPropertyTax.com. Yep, it's that easy, and you
So you
can't
click
forget
on it
it.
and there it is.
All right, so go into search records.
Aloha and welcome, and right across the top here, let me make this bigger so people can see.
Perfect. You're gonna search
Right
records.
over the top, home search record forms, real property tax, blah, 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 blah. Search records. Okay, terms and conditions, yes, I'm not a spy.
Okay, so put in an address that you have listed, you wanna list. I'm gonna show you how to come up with a mailing list. That's easy, this takes 2 minutes, and you can mail.
I'll put in my home address.
Right.
Why not? 161,
Okay, so that's
whoops.
names, you're gonna go down to the middle for
Alright.
address.
There it is.
Perfect.
161 EL loop. Search. Bang. And
Okay.
There it is, there's me, there's Beth, and here's the property, and it's owner occupied, here's our taxes.
Okay,
I mean,
you're gonna click up here on view map, which is right under the
Right there.
neighborhood information, right at the top, above owner. And it's gonna highlight the parcel that you're in.
We're on the corner, there it is, right there.
Okay, what I'm looking for is the, can't do this subject, search within 500 feet. Have you done that before?
Right here, property search, no.
No, go back to the prior page. Okay, I'm gonna go down, let's see if it's down there at the bottom. Keep going. Okay, generate odor list by radius.
Ah.
Distance, you can change this 100 feet to 500 feet. So let's just do 500 for kicks and giggles. And then hit download.
Address labels, so it's downloading address labels in Avery 5160 format. There they are.
There they are.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Wow.
so you can go down to see how many names. At the bottom, if you just do the search, it'll tell you how many addresses, and then you can print that download it in the address folder. So you just print this and copy it right onto mailing labels, or you can just use this as a list and handwrite it and then cross it off when you've written it.
Okay.
So that gives you, and they're in alphabetical order. So did it give you a count at the bottom, how many there were?
Not on this.
All right, so if you go back, it'll tell you.
It's a PDF. So
All right, so just go back. Owner, yeah, we don't want to download, just hit enter. Usually I'll just give you a count first. Yeah, it's not giving you the count.
No.
Okay, I'd have to look at, anyways,
Well-
it'll tell you when it starts to school the list, how many you pulled. So if it's like, oh, I don't need 500 names and 500 feet, I only need a list of 100 names. You can go as small as 100 feet, out to 1,000 feet. The county provides this so that if you're applying for like a short-term rental permit, B&B permit, some sort of building permit, you can notify your neighbors. And depending on which law you're using, which permit status, you must notify your neighbors within 500 feet. So that's what that's for. I use this for us for lead generation and marketing, because I don't have to call the title company. I'm not working late at night or on the weekend. I can do my list, I can print my labels. There's no excuses to not getting my stuff done and getting it out. And it's right there, and it's free, and it's accurate. Because unlike the databases that go to the title companies, the county maintains this and they update it every week. So this is accurate. And it's based on owner name. So even if the owner is not there, and they have a mailing address in Houston, you'll know that, and you can mail to wherever they get their mail.
Wow.
Super helpful. So that tip alone should make your class worthwhile today.
Yes.
We're done. Okay, let's just adjourn. So that's why I asked you about your notes, because I hear all these agents, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm like, what can you do and what's your obstacle? Let's look at that glass as half full. How do we get there? So great job for doing notes. Cherise.
So I've been doing a lot of everything, only because I own a business that I still have to go into.
Tell us about what you own so that maybe we can visit your business.
I do cosmetic tattooing. So I'm there.
Okay, I have to say I don't have a cosmetic tattoo yet. Is that eyebrows?
Call me, yeah. And then we do eyeliner and lips too, but the bulk of my business is brows.
Really?
And I have other girls in there too.
I always wanted really great brows,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'm committed to a tattoo
Yeah.
yet.
Well, I just did Shay's mom, and yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she do yours?
No, I'm not tattooed. I
Okay.
tattoo
Not
also,
yet.
but I change my look too often, so.
Yeah?
But mine are microbladed.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. And
I
it's just
wouldn't
like
know.
you don't have to like just wake up and
Yeah.
Just
do
one more
everything.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would come, but my eyebrows are perfect.
Okay, so that business though, does that give you some
Yes.
flexibility?
Oh,
Can you do that
absolutely.
nights and weekends as well?
Usually mornings, but
Mornings.
I have to figure that out once all my classes are done.
Yes.
But because I have a social media account for that business, and then social media is really big for me, and I have to stay relevant. So I do try to post every day.
Okay.
And I've been getting a lot of feedback, and a lot of people are like, hey, you're in real estate now. I just, we had a Super Bowl party, and everyone's like, oh, you're in real estate now. How's that going? So every conversation that I have on a day-to-day basis, especially with having an 18-year-old that just graduated, and then I have a 1-year-old.
Awesome.
So the gifts and the cards and everything, those are, because Christmas is now lively again.
Yes.
With a little boy. I'm like, oh my gosh, these gifts and these little notes that people like would come and give me baby shower gift or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, this really means a lot. So same.
And it's a little thing. I mean, it could be a $5 something.
Exactly.
Because when you're starting out,
Like
you
a
don't have
$5
tons of money to work with.
Right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Oprah is a new spokesperson for Hallmark, and they're running a commercial right now. You may have seen it, where Oprah says, "What should you include in a Valentine's card?" And she said, more important to people than the gift would be, good morning, Kevin.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Is the verbiage, what you choose to say. And they're like, all you did was make a card. So she's not even promoting buying a card from Hallmark, but how do you touch someone without spending a lot of money? Even if you made a card or you bought a card, but you thought about 3 things about that person, and you wrote, she was talking about a friend of hers who's a widow. Her husband had died. She said, I'm going to write 3 things in the card that say that although your true Valentine's no longer with us, you're my Valentine, and here's why. And she said, it's be as specific and as small as you can in those 3 things. And what that really just resonated with me, because I take things from all sorts of media when I'm teaching, is it's about being personable, and it's about being relevant, and it's about really being specific to that person. So if I said, Bob, you're my Valentine, don't tell your wife. You're my Valentine because you're so dedicated to your business, that you, at this point in your career, took the risk to make a change. A lot of agents stay because they're afraid to make a change.
Yep. I know a lot of my people that I worked with for years and years and years and years over at Coldwell Banker, and I call them up and I say, dude, what the hell are you still doing there? And they go, I'm too old to change. They literally say that.
I know, and I said, well, then you're going to retire with less. Why not make a change and retire with more?
And they've all said that. I'm too old to change.
I know, which it's
sad. I hate it,
it,
but I'm too old to change. I mean, they've said that.
I know, and it's really sad. But when I heard her talking about these things you say in the card, what did I say about Bob? I said something that was very specific. You took the risk to take a change in your business. Obviously in a romantic context, you would say something different, or in a friendship, if it's your girlfriend, you would say something different for Valentine's Day. But it just resonated with me that, again, those cards don't have to be long. Even if you took one specific thing on a holiday and you wrote that, or even on a just because. I've written just because cards last week, and I got calls from my clients going, it's not a holiday, it's nothing, you just thought of me and you took the extra time to sit down and write me a card. I'm so touched. And I just wrote one thing about, they're all clients, some of them are friends now, closer friends, and I just said, although I don't see you every year when you're here visiting, I'm just so happy that I could bless your life, and you now have that special oceanfront second home. These are people I haven't seen in a long time. Would love to connect with you on your next visit. The fact you thought about them and you sent them a card is huge. So Cherise, tell me about your daily 10-4. Like, what specifically are you doing? Or where are you at?
I don't do too much calling. I do a lot of, like I said, social media connection and text messages, because we're all, I know a lot of people, my peers are all working around this time.
Can I ask how old you are?
Yeah, 32.
Or range?
32.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. You look much younger.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's true of 30s. I have 2 daughters that are in their 30s and 2 in their 20s. And
yeah.
Millennials are tech driven.
Exactly.
And so again, knowing your client base,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super techie at all, but I find I text with my millennial clients, whereas my clients that are now in their 60s and 80s that started with me 30 years ago, they don't take a text. they rarely even take an email.
Right.
Like it's in
Yeah.
mail or like send it to them because some of them live for checking their mail every day.
Yeah.
And again, you have to think, retired, people who aren't getting up and going to work every day, that's their big thing is they have breakfast and they walk to the mailbox and they check their mail and, you know, it's a great way to touch. So knowing your audience, that's excellent.
Sorry, I'm 33. I just turned 33.
Well, great. You don't look 33
I'm
either.
32.
Awesome. Very good. So you're texting. So are you
Denial.
are you adding those to your database?
Well, the people from doing browse, I do. I'm like, hey, you know, how's your living situation or whatever it is. And some of them I do know and they're referrals. And so I just throw it in there.
Are you treating this as an and business? So when you're talking to people about who are there about their browse, I own this browse shop and
Yes.
I'm also in real estate.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so don't make it, some people make the mistake or they feel they can't have crossover and in some employment you can't.
Yeah.
Like if you're working at the hotel as a concierge and you're selling real estate, that's a little more difficult. But if it's your own business, I do multiple, I'm very entrepreneurial, I do several things. Two of the things I'm currently doing is great browse and wealth building through real estate. And that's a quick wealth building through real estate. That's gonna catch their attention. Because in their early 30s, they're starting to think, not about retirement, but what I should start thinking about owning a home if I don't already own one.
Exactly.
So when someone says to you, I can't afford a home, what do you say to them?
I usually ask if they got pre-qualified or, you know, if they ever tried or talked to a lender or.
That's a great starting point, and that's usually where I start, is with pre-qualification. But I also will tell people, sometimes there's sacrifice, sometimes you have to take a few steps back to take a few steps forward.
Right.
Everyone can buy on Maui, everyone. They might be buying a $100,000 leasehold condo, they might be buying a Harbor Lights, they might be buying, you know, whatever that entry point is for them, a studio in South Maui, and they might have to make a sacrifice. So what I tell people is, the real estate you buy today is gonna have equity for you statistically in 2 years. Our trend of our market has been carrying that statistically for decades. We are due for an overcorrection. We are way into our upswing and overdue for a correction. But I tell them, get into something. So maybe you need to let go of that $600 a month 4x4 truck payment and get a used truck or maybe even a Honda that you're paying $300 a month and drive that, or a used car you pay cash for 2 years. So you can get rid of that truck payment. I say trucks because so many of my male clients are driving these big trucks that they don't own, they're paying monthly on, and they're lifted and this and that and the other thing. I'm like, if you had just invested your improvement money to your truck as your down payment and got rid of that car payment, we can get you into a Kihei Villages today, you know, Parkside today, a studio something, and in 2 years, sell it, take your equity tax-free, and roll that into your down payment for something closer to what you really want.
Right.
Do you know, all know that they can take money tax-free after 2 years? So the law is, federal law, you must live in the property as your primary residence 2 of the last 5 years. As a single person, you can take up to $250,000 tax-free. As a married couple, $500,000 tax-free. You can do that every 2 years. I have clients that have done it 3 or 4 times already. They own their property free and clear. And we went into that with the strategy of, we're gonna buy at 1 year and 9 months, we're gonna put your property on the market, we're gonna close at 2 years and a day, and we're gonna roll that money into your next down payment. And we're gonna do this strategically every 2 years. Improve your property, don't fall in love with it. It is a vehicle to get you where you wanna be, the property type and location you want, but also without a mortgage. And it's very doable in our market.
Can I run by you what I was saying with my previous broker?
Yes.
I was basically telling people, you know, my understanding of real estate before I got into it was my grandparents, they bought a house in the 40s and lived there for 70 years.
Yes,
And nobody does that anymore.
correct.
It's the national average is about 5 years. And so basically we're trying to make it as an investment, kind of like what you're describing.
Wealth building.
Wealth building. And you're when they say, but it's $650,000 or $800,000, I tell them you're not going to pay $850,000 in 5 years. What you're doing is you're getting a loan, you're using it as an investment, wealth building, and then
Your loan is your leverage to
Okay.
get you into the property.
Okay.
You're gonna calculate your cost at your monthly payment over the course of a year. You're only gonna pay on that property for 2 years. And let's say it's $2,000 a month, just for easy numbers, $24,000 a year. In 2 years, you're gonna pay $48,000, and we're projecting your equity return at the end of the 2 years is gonna be $150,000. So at the end of 2 years, you're $100,000 ahead, plus you get your initial money back, $48,000 back, so you're made whole again minus your initial down payment. Whereas if you were paying rent at or above $2,000 a month, because $2,000 is not much in our market today, that would be rent and gone. You'd get no return of that rent, you'd get no equity lift, and yeah, you'd have your down payment in the bank. So is that where you want to be in 10 years? Because let's do this 5 times, or what does that look like? In the 5 time, you're going to have $500,000 to $800,000 in equity lift over the time of turning those properties, and now you could choose to buy something in that $500,000 to $800,000 range cash. You have no mortgage the rest of your life. So it's also about changing their mindset of, my parents' generation was buy the house a little bit better than their parents. My generation was as big as you can get, because I started living as an adult in the 80s, late 80s. And the 80s and 90s were all about excess, you know, and flash and showy. Today, at this point in my life, I own a nice home in Kula, and I'm looking at when am I going to sell it to downsize and pay cash so I don't have a mortgage anymore. And I have other properties I own on the island as investments, and I'm looking at how can I liquidate what I have right now and spread it out over more properties so that when I retire in 10 years, they're paid for. You know, I figure if I had 10 homes at $500,000 a piece, that's $5 million. And I could sell one home every 5 years or every 10 years in my retirement and live a pretty darn great life on top of whatever other assets I have. Because I do put money in an IRA SEP, which you should all consider. It's a self-employed plan. You can put up to 20% of your income per year in a SEP. And I pay tax deferred, so I intentionally plan to pay tax when I withdraw it in the future. And my financial advisor suggested I do it that way because in the future, I'll have a much lower tax bracket. Today I'm making, you know, 6-figure incomes, you know, significantly higher than 100,000, but 6-figure incomes, and you all could be making $300,000, $500,000, $1 million a year. If you put 20% into a SEP, it's going to be pretty substantial. And it doesn't take much to get to 300,000 in this market income. You know, 24 units a year, 26 units a year, and you're there, based on our average price point. So, you know, that was my strategy, is I just want to own 10 properties, and as I buy the properties, I only take a 15-year mortgage. So I know at worst, it's 15 years out, but I intentionally pay extra so that I can get them paid off in 10 years, because that's my goal. In 10 years, I want them all paid off, and then that's my retirement. If the market crashes, could I lose money? Yes. Historically, our market has come down, but it's always rebounded higher than the previous high, and in a much more contracted period. So decades ago, it would be a longer buildup. Now it's a much shorter buildup and a much shorter drop. So I'm not worried that it's going to go, even if it dropped in half. Okay, now I have 2.5 million in properties that I own free and clear. If real estate's crashed and the world is ending, prices on everything else are coming down too. So I feel really confident that that's a strong strategy for me. And I share that with my clients. You know, because you don't want to just bless yourself, you want to come from contribution with your clients. And what more better personal way than I want to help you set yourself up for success, even if it's just starting with how they can own their home free and clear. Even we just start with that. And so there's a great opportunity there. So I'm excited for you as an entrepreneur. You have the ability to cross promote your business. That just cut your time in half, what you have to do. Because it's not, I got to stop, go to work and then stop and do this.
Yeah,
I can kind of feed it both in. And if you get that verbiage in your dialogue, it's super helpful. Okay, Shaylin.
Yeah. I have been making an average of 7 to 15 calls a day.
Great job.
Yeah.
Are you adding them to your database?
I am,
Are they
I am.
new people?
Yeah. Well, I'm calling 5 people I know and asking for referrals or references, and I'm trying to call. If I don't get enough, then I'll call, a few more people that I know. But I'm asking for names or family members. I was a leader in a business for a long time, so I've had so much relationships that have stayed and have gone. So rebuilding the relationships that I haven't been close to for over the last 10 years has been very significant for me. I'm not really heavy on social media. I'm not good at it like Cherish is. But I think when I do get on there, they're like, oh, Shay posted, and so there's been a lot of reaction. But it's actually, I'm rebuilding friendships and contacts that I've lost track of over the 10 years that are bringing me in the most business. It's like surprising me. But I've also been.
They're happy to hear from you.
They are, and I didn't.
That's a shocker, isn't it?
It
They're
is.
happy to hear from
I'm
you.
blown away. I called the guy that I was his boss, and he actually chose to leave me.
Yeah.
And it hurt my feelings, of course, when you're a boss and someone chooses to leave you. It does,
They didn't choose to leave you. They chose to make a change in
They
their direction.
They did, but he left
Rewrite
me
the story in your head
Yeah.
to a positive one.
He left me unhappy, but when I called him, he was, Shay, I've been thinking about you nonstop for 2 years. I said, why? He goes, because I was so mad when I left you, but your last words were so kind, you weren't mad. And and it just freaked me out because you don't expect that kind of situation to turn into positive. And he's been sending me the most people. So, it's just really cool to get back in there and like.
Sometimes when you remove yourself from the situation and then you revisit it, 2 things. You realize that you were only viewing it through one lens and maybe there were multiple viewpoints.
Yeah.
And I tell people when you have these kind of situations where they left me because they weren't happy and they left me, rewrite that story. Because otherwise that's going to be in your core. They didn't leave me. He was lucky enough to encounter a growth opportunity, a new opportunity, something that blessed his life.
Right.
And now we've come full circle and we've reconnected and look at what a blessing it is.
Right.
So really try to look at your cup in a positive lens and half full, because we get told no and rejected so much. It's very easy to fall into that negative mindset. And it happens to me, and I have to sit myself down in my office and clear my head and go, this isn't about me, because that's where we go first. It's about us. It's not about me. It's, how do I look at this? What is this doing for them? Even when they use another agent, because I have to tell you, it will happen. I have had clients who I have not connected with, and time goes by and they have a need and I'm not top of mind because they're not top of mind with me, and they use another agent and I'm on the MLS and I'm like, I sold them this house, they're listing it for sale, why would they call someone else who I haven't talked to them in 3 years? So I've been with Keller Williams now 4 years. I was here when we opened the firm, one of the first agents to come on board, and I have really worked concertedly and with intent to change that. So now I am in contact with all my clients. I would be horrified if that happened today. But over the last 30 years, it's happened a handful of times. And I'm thinking, man, we're such good friends. I can't believe they didn't call me. It happens. And again, it was, you weren't top of mind. If you ask a client, if you're not in touch with a client, and this isn't someone who was referred to you, but someone maybe you get an internet lead or walks in your open house, and you go through this life moment with them for 2 to 3 months, and you sell them a property, and then you don't talk to them for 6 months, NAR statistically says they won't remember your name. 6 months from now? That's scary. I know your finances, I got you hooked with my lender, I heard about your new baby, all these things. You're like, and they don't remember my name? You're like, how could that be? It just is. It's human nature. We have short memories. So that's why the tools that Keller Williams offers you in the 33 Touch programs about make a phone call, reminder, send a note card, reminder, have coffee, is so that you're having a variety of touches, but it's constant. Why send a note card to the person you just called today? Because it's a reinforcement. Yes, they'll know you called, but they're going to remember that note longer than they remember the call. And so it layers on each other. That's why it's such a positive thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so any questions or comments about the daily 10-4 process? I hope this provided some value to you, some ideas, some strategies. I encourage you, if you do nothing else in Keller Williams but this, do this and get this mastered, because this is going to drive your business and you're not going to have to advertise and market. You'll just be promoting your listings or sending out notes and things on buyers you're looking for. And it makes your business a lot easier if you have enough people or more than enough people to service and call and sell. I mean, it's a better day when you wake up and you're like, I'm gonna make my 10 calls, and then I've got 10 buyers on my list. I'm gonna search the internet, the MLS, the next 2 hours to identify properties to go out and show these 10 buyers. Or I've just loaded out 8 listings. I have a new listing that's going live this weekend that was a referral to me. And I went back through my list of stuff and I'm like, oh, next week's gonna be good because I'm gonna have all sorts of people to call and mail to on this. I've got a lot of buyers in my database for this. Bet I can double end this. That's my new thing. I kind of like step up your little baby goals. Now it's not just I want to sell it. I want to double end it. And just chunk, chunk, chunk. So come up with a strategy that works for you. Keep your positive mindset. And if that's your one thing, I encourage you to use the new command tools. I realize that there's a learning curve. It's not as intuitive as we'd like it. But if any of you don't know how to add a contact to command, I will help you at the end of this class and teach you how to add a contact. It is the first function you can use in command. It's very easy. Yes?
I use the collaboration center from Paragon a lot.
Yeah.
Is there something better on command that I should be using, or something parallel that I should be
As
looking
your
at?
database?
Just as like a way to notify my clients and myself of new properties and what they're...
Not within command
Okay.
yet, but I will check with Robert
Okay.
on that. Let me make a note of that so I can ask him after
I
class.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I try to connect and facilitate for the agents as a whole so that as I'm getting your answer, I'm learning as well. Because I don't know everything in command, but I forced myself to use the Keller Williams tools. The Kelly app, which is going to become our consumer-facing app, our new Keller Mortgage app, and command. And I forced myself to do it. It's not easy at first. It's changed. But every day I do it, it gets a little bit easier. Okay, so you want to know if there's something parallel to collaboration.
Yep. To the Collab Center.
To collab.
I'm fairly, used to the Collab Center at this point, but I would like to use mostly Keller Tech if possible.
If you can use the command system, your first step is going to be adding your contact so that you have your database. And the database is what all those smart plans drive off of, both for direct mail and for email. You could do them in parallel, but you want to get one program, one system, and be done.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Okay. So now it's your turn. You're going to lead generate now. Today's affirmation is on the top of page 8. So I'll say it and then let's all stand up and say it together. I am comfortable making calls daily because I know I'm helping people. All right, so let's all stand up, get your energy up. Let's say this 3 times, all right? I am comfortable making calls daily because I know I'm helping people. I am comfortable making calls daily because I know I'm helping people. I am comfortable making calls daily because I know I'm helping people. Okay, so now you're going to get out your phone list, your contacts, any referrals, and today your goal is call for 20 minutes, make contact with as many people as you can. Goal 2, you want to ask for a referral from each contact and offer your app. And then goal 3 is to secure an appointment. And when I say an appointment, it could be, let's get together for coffee. You have 20 minutes. You know, I haven't seen you in a long time. Let's reconnect. So those are the 3 goals. You'd like to have those in front of you. Try to make your calls focused where you're spending no more than 2 to 3 minutes on your calls. Have you guys talked about how to do that and get through calling? No?
That's my problem.
Okay,
Because I
so
talk to somebody and I end up talking to them.
So let's talk about that for right now, okay? So your call should be at max 3 minutes. And this is not just here in class, but any call. Because when you have time blocked calling time, your goal is to call and connect with as many people as you can, and usually have a threshold of what you want to get through. It might be 10 calls for your daily 10-4. So you should be able to spend 30 minutes and get through, maybe 45 minutes and get through your 10 calls a day. That's all it should take. Once you get a system and you know. I use a chess timer. I don't know if you guys know what those are, you can buy them online. But it just will time for a certain minute, and I'll usually get a 2 minute or a 3 minute. They break every so often, so I have to replace it. But your first 30 seconds should be your entry to the call, you know. And if you time 30 seconds on your phone, 30 seconds is a long time. You know, hi, good morning, is Bob in? This is Bob. Hey Bob, this is Michelle Del Rosario with Keller Williams Realty Maui. I'm calling on my business this morning. Do you have a few minutes?